What's going on, people? I'm making this video about the Raptors. I had wanted to make one after the game 7, but I've been so busy doing that period of time. I also wanted to make a draft video. So if there's any Lion fans watching this video, because I mostly do Detroit Lion videos on this video, on this channel, um, I still will be making that free agency recap video. I just don't know when. I'm not going to try to take too long because I know people are going to get disinterested after a while. But yeah, whenever I have time, I will get to it. We'll see about in the coming weekend or early part of next week. We'll see. But I don't want to promise anything on that just yet. But I will be making a video of free agency decisions. But back to the Raptors, man. I just want to explain why I'm actually kind of proud of this team. In this particular playoffs. Obviously, getting over the first round hump, you have to be proud of them for that. Finally getting over that hump. The Raptors have not played perfect. At times, it's been awful. At times, it's been a little lackluster. But at the same time, they've definitely shown in the last 3 years that they've kind of grown up as a team. Man, this is a Toronto team that's really. Kind of young in a certain aspect where they're just learning how to win and close out playoff series, which is the hardest thing, man. Especially when you have to face this year, you have to face Miami, who's a veteran club, who I think is the better team in this series, but they can be beat in this series, man. And I'll explain why I think they can. But I look, man, the media been wanting the Cavs and Heat. We all know that. Raptor fans all know it's a bias towards the Raptors. A lot of people don't want to see this Raptor team win because they want to see the Cavs and Heat play. They want to see LeBron face his old team. They want to see LeBron against Wade. Do I want to see that? Hell no. I'm a Raptors fan, and even if that wasn't the case, I don't want to see that because, in my opinion, the Heat aren't on the Cavs level. I think a lot of people are overrating that, and you saw it in the Hornets series that the Heat they're like that far behind. Like the Cavs' only competition is out west. Okay, it's only out west against the Spurs or Warriors. The Thunder can't beat them either. Only the Spurs or the Warriors could give the Cavs trouble in a 7-game series. So. In my opinion, that series is just for bulletin board material, something that the media could jot down for about a couple of weeks, you know what I'm saying? But it's not like the Heat are going to beat the Cavs. Like, if you think that's going to happen, you're fooling the fuck out of yourself. And I hope my Raptors spoil it, and because I see this series going at least 7 games. 6 games. It'll go 6 if Miami takes care of business. Like, if Miami, first of all, Miami will have to, because they're going to lose tomorrow, game 2. But I think Miami has to sweep the 2 home games on Saturday and Monday. If they get those 2 done, we'll see if the Raptors have one last little pull to win that game 5, but then Miami's going to take care of it down in game 6. Now, the Raptors' best chance is if they can send this damn thing to 7. They send the series to 7. Now you're talking about a whole different ball game because now you're talking about a Raptors team with confidence. Because I think the reason why they got it done this year against the Pacers is because they finally had that confidence in Game 7. They finally took advantage of when they needed to get that win, that Game 7 win. Because the Brooklyn series was a little different. That was the Raptors' first time in the playoffs, so they were definitely showing a lot of inexperience. But the Raptors are such a better team than they were then, and I think they have a better weapons and better bench. The reason why the Raptors could still lose a series against the Heat, and why they definitely aren't beating the Cavs in the next round, is because they don't have that extra player that they need. It was the same thing with why the Pistons didn't beat the Cavs, or at least take the Cavs to about 6 games. They didn't have that extra player. Every team needs that extra, like, elite level player, man. And that's something that the Raptors have got to work on. But in turn, the Raptors actually might be losing the road. I think it's pretty much set in stone that they're going to lose DeRozan. Like, I'm not expecting DeRozan. It's just like when Kyle Lowry signed at a contract extension 2 years ago. If DeRozan resigns it, I will be fucking shocked. But we'll see, man. Because in my opinion, DeMar DeRozan is going to LA. I mean, he wants to be. He said it before. He wants to be back out there. He's got family out there. The Lakers are going to give him the max contract. All of that stuff. He's going to be probably, for about until the Lakers draft their next superstar, which should be this season. But whoever they draft won't be ready to take over the team until about at least 2 years. So at least the next 2 years, DeMar DeRozan is going to be the main player on that team with a young core. So, I think that's how it's going to go. And the weird thing about it is because Kyle Lowry and DeRozan struggled starting off the Pacers series, it was actually DeRozan who actually got out of his slump and started taking over. Like, you started seeing DeRozan play the way he did all season long. And I thought he had a pretty good game yesterday. But I mean, there's just certain things about DeMar DeRozan. He's just not perfect. Sometimes, that dribbling move that he made, I was mad at the time, but, I'm not mad at him for that. And I understand with Kyle Lowry as well. He's just in a bad shooting slump, man. I don't know. It could be one or two things. His elbow. It could be what Shaq was saying on Inside the NBA. Just some guys just don't live up to the pressure in the playoffs. Because this is the third season in a row where the dude has played awful in the playoffs. And we'll see, man. We'll see if, he went into the gym. He had that buzzer beater, that devastating buzzer beater that didn't do anything for us in overtime. We'll see if that gets his confidence up, man, and see if we see a different Kyle Lowry. Because the Raptors are only going to go as far as him. Now, what's interesting to me about the Raptors and what I'm finding out in the playoffs is that Jonas Valanciunas is starting to become an elite level player. Like, people starting to really notice him now. Like, I've always noticed this about Jonas Valanciunas is going all the way back to his rookie season. Like, this dude is the real fucking deal. To me, Jonas Valanciunas is starting to make those leaps, in my opinion. He's starting to make those leaps, man, as a player. Like, he's just starting to really focus on some things. Like, I actually think right now he's better than Hassan Whiteside is kind of overrated, man. He has some flashes, but he's not like, his best thing is help defense, but he doesn't. It's like Charles Barkley said, he doesn't block his the player that he guards. He doesn't block their shots, and he's a revolving door. Like, Al Jefferson was taking that nigga to school, and I kept on telling people, like, they said, oh man, Jonas Valanciunas, he had an easy matchup against Mahimi in the last round. That's how he was doing so well. Well, in my opinion, this is still a matchup where he could dominate. Because to me, that's going to be the difference in this series as well. The Raptors and Dwayne Casey have to take the game into the post for the rest of the series. No more outside shots. Like, the way they've been playing with the ISO ball, no more of that shit. That shit's got to decrease. You got to put that shit, you got to get Jonas Valanciunas in that 30-point range. There's no excuse for why Jonas Valanciunas isn't averaging at least 28, 29, 30, 31 points in this series. Like, the ball should be going into him about 60 to 70% of the goddamn possessions. Because he is eating up Hassan Whiteside. And God forbid whatever backup comes in for Whiteside, I think it was Stoudemire yesterday. Whoever comes in for this motherfucker is going to get eaten. This dude's on the come up. This is about to be on this Valanciunas team, man, because Kyle Lowry's getting older. DeRozan's going to be gone. I don't know who that next complimentary player will be. Maybe it'll be Norm Powell. I don't know if he's that good to be on that level, but I said the same thing about DeMar DeRozan, and look what he turned out to be, an all-star. So maybe Norm Powell could develop his game to being more of an all-star. That'll be pretty good for us, because I don't know if we'll be able to attract a free agent to come up here that'll be quite on that level. But Jonas Valanciunas is doing a pretty good job in this series, and that's another reason I'm proud, because he's taking those steps as well. Corey Joseph, man, he's awesome. DeMar Carroll, man, he's starting to get used to things out there, man. The only problem I had with him yesterday was his inbounding. Like, because there was so much attention towards Miami Heat's inbounding problems, he didn't really get ridiculed for his rebounder because he had some sorry ass inbound and things. But other than that, man, he's starting to kind of really find his way on the court. You know, after that injury, you know, dealing with the injury all season, he's starting to find his way out there, and I think he's going to become bigger and bigger. You know, the longer the Raptors last in these playoffs, the more bigger he becomes because he's getting used to being out on that court, playing, you know, whatever minutes, you know, every game. So, you know, the bench is stepping up. Biombo's been great. You know, just a lot of things, man, with this team right now where I just really feel like they made the steps. Like, this team right now, man, they're not going away. Even when DeMar leaves, it's not going to be like when Chris Bosh left, where we went through a little bit of a period where, or even Vince Carter, where we went through a period of maybe about 3 or 4 years before we returned to the playoffs, you know. It's not going to be like that. Like, the Raptors are going to be in the Eastern Conference mix for a lot of years because, like I said, it's a young team, and I think they're going to go as Jonas Valanciunas goes, you know what I'm saying? And to me, you know, this is a team that's going to be around for. They're going to be a tough out in the coming years. Them and the Hornets, man, are the two teams to really watch out for in the Eastern Conference. Like, these two teams are going to be really tough outs, man. The Pistons are coming. I forgot to add the Pistons in there. Pistons are going to be a tough out. And eventually the Sixers are going to be getting a great team out there. You know, the East is going to be tough, man. I mean, once LeBron really ages too, man, the whole landscape of the Eastern Conference is going to change. The Raptors are getting real close to winning their first title too, man. It's going to happen within the next 5 years, in my opinion, man. They're getting real close. Like I said, they're still missing that one player. The trouble for them is that they're not going to be able to draft anybody that's a chance of being a superstar because of where they're drafting every year, because they have one of the best records in the league every year. It's going to kind of hurt them, and I'm hoping, you know, one of the things about the Raptors is, you know, with Lowry staying here, I think that was huge for this organization because the guy, DeMar Carroll here. DeMar Carroll, man, that was a surprise pickup for the Raptors. So I think they're still good enough to get certain free agents. Like, one guy that I like for them to go after is Ken Bazemore. You know, they can get him, they can snatch another Atlanta player away. I think I would like for them to get him in here, another scorer, because we're definitely going to need a two guard to replace DeRozan. And I don't know, maybe Casey is just going to go with the plan of maybe just having Norman Powell fit that void next season. So it's a lot of things to talk about in this series, man, with these Raptors, man. But I'm actually proud of this team, man. I know a lot of Raptor fans are kind of like, you know, they're always the loom and gloom, but I don't have that loser attitude. That loser attitude is not in my DNA. I'm not going to talk down about my team like that all the time, man. I feel like they got a really bright future, man. I was impressed after yesterday, man, because they really kept up with the Miami Heat. Almost won that game. Like I said, I think the toughest thing for the Raptors right now still is closing out games and finishing games, man. That's something that young teams always gotta kind of overcome, and they kind of just need Kyle Lowry to step up, man. So it's not going to be an easy series for the Raptors at all, man. They could get swept. Anything can happen, a 4-1, anything like that. Don't be shocked if that stuff happens, man. But in my opinion, whatever way they go out this year, I'm going to be proud of this team for taking the next step. Now, next year, I want to see them take another step. I want to see them, especially if they keep the Rose in it. I want to see them take another step, you know, and try to get to the Eastern Conference Finals, because this is a team that's emerging. Now, Miami's probably only going to get better because they're going to keep getting marquee talent. They got their eyes on Kevin Durant and LeBron, but if they get neither one of them guys, they're going to be in the same position they were this year. You know, really a mediocre team that barely got by Charlotte. You know, that's how I said this team is. This isn't an impossible series for the Raptors to win. That's why you got a lot of people in the media. I've heard like maybe 3 people, including Stephen A. Smith today, that said, you know, that's been saying they're worried, you know, that they might not see that series because Toronto is a threat. They're a threat. They're a team not to be trusted, but they're a threat because they're on the come up. They are a threat to beat the Miami Heat because they're obviously a better team than the Hornets were. Because I think if you put Toronto in that same situation where they had that Game 6 to close that series out, I think the Raptors take care of business and they would have closed the Heat out in that Game 6. Now, obviously, we got game. That's why I said it's important for the Raptors to maybe take this damn thing to 7, because to me, the pressure is all on the Heat right now. It's not really on the Raptors. Raptors are just, you know, this is an experience series for them. They got over the bugaboo, which was The pressure on them was the first round. Anything after this is gravy. You know what I'm saying? It ain't like nobody really expecting the Raptors to make it to play against Cleveland in the next round anyway. So, to me, the pressure is on the Heat. And you start by putting that pressure on the Heat, winning tomorrow, evening up this series. And then in the next two games, if you split those next two games, we got a new series, folks. We got a brand new fucking series. And this is when you start getting worried as a Heat supporter, Heat fan, Heat media, whatever the fuck. You start getting worried because this is a Toronto team that's going to have two of the last 3 games in the series will be in Toronto. And that is no easy task, man. So, the Heat can overcome it because they're a veteran team, but it's a lot of things on the line. So, we'll see, man. It's an interesting series, man. I love last night's game. It was deflating because they didn't take advantage of the buzzer beater in overtime, but it wasn't a game that the Raptors were supposed to have won anyways. It was Miami's mistakes at the end and catapulted to that. But it's going to be an interesting series, though, man. And Dragic it ain't like a Dragic. I mean, yeah, going Dragic is going to go off for 26 points every game. So, and I think that's the thing. The one constant that is D Wade is going to do what he does every fucking game. He's the one constant in this fucking series. So you just have to make sure you shut down everybody else because Dang is going to have some good games. Who Whiteside is going to have, some defensive spots. Like I said, I just don't think he's that great of a player like everyone else is overrating him as. Richardson, for all the shit that they were talking about with Richardson, he was absolute garbage yesterday, especially defensively. Corey Joseph was sneaking. That's why I said that Corey Joseph, you need to see more of him tomorrow because they can't. It's just like with Landon Walker, the backcourt cannot defend anybody. Dragic can't defend anybody. Wade can't defend anybody. These motherfuckers just can't defend anybody, man. The guys just go right past these niggas, man. So it should have been an easier series for Lowry, but he just keeps taking these open shots. One thing Kyle Lowry needs to do is get to the fucking hole. Just get to the fucking hole, dude. See that basketball go in for you and gain your confidence that way. Don't be shooting these jump shots and thinking that's what it is. But let me get on out of here. Like I said, any Lion fans watching this video, free agency video will be coming. I think by this time next week it should be in. Okay, I'm thinking it should be in by this time next week. All right, guys. Thanks for watching and peace.